Taken to play. Hello and welcome to the Gamerman's Lounge. I am Lord Gamerman of this lounge, and yeah, welcome to Video Game Classics, where we go ahead and get a hold of the game released in the past, review game released in the past, and then say, hey, is it good? Anyway, let's get right on going. And boy, oh boy, guess what's gonna happen? Well, you look at that. Oh, hey! Dynasty Warriors 3! Oh, hey! I'm finally doing that at once? Reviewing games in chronological order? What a twist. Yeah, I know. Anyway, let's get right on going to Dynasty Warriors 3. So when it came to the release of Dynasty Warriors 2, someone at Omega Force decided, okay, you know what? The Dynasty Warriors 2, it's kicking off. We can pretty much keep going with this thing that we got and going forward. And, eventually, it would carry on the Muso genre, and it would become more of a big thing than ever later down the line. But what happened at Omega Force is that someone decided, you know what, hold my beer, and then 1 year after the release of Dynasty Warriors 2, here comes Dynasty Warriors 3. And Dynasty Warriors 3 is gonna be the same thing as 2. As a matter of fact, you're going through the beginning of the Yellow Turban fiasco, and then the story ends at, like, the conclusion of the Three Kingdoms War, based in China. Okay, so the factions that are going to be available in Dynasty Warriors 3 are going to be, as usual, the Wu, Wei, Shu, and other, okay? Including those who fought in the Yellow Turban against the three factions before the Three Kingdoms thing, and yes, including Lu Bu and Dao Chan. And wait, okay, now Dynasty Warriors 3 not only released a year after Dynasty Warriors 2, but when it came to Dynasty Warriors 3, Dynasty Warriors 3 was the first in the Dynasty Warriors franchise to basically begin to see the beginning, what I meant to say, of the Extreme Legends expansions. And I'll go ahead and take a look at those Extreme Legends expansions later down the line in a separate video. But right now, let's go ahead and focus on the Dynasty Warriors mainline games. And let's just keep going. What you will be seeing about Dynasty Warriors 3 is that newly introduced equipables that are meant to basically boost stats to your warriors of choice. But the voice acting, yes, the voice acting, it's going to become more of a thing than ever. You're not going to see it when it comes to the CG rendered cutscenes. You're going to see the voice acting basically persist throughout during gameplay and during missions. And yeah, interesting things. And yes, there will be cutscenes in the middle of gameplay. There's going to be both rendered in-game and both CG rendered at the end of the day. However, Muso mode campaigns, they're more detailed than ever. As a matter of fact, you're going to be seeing some more scenarios from left and right when it comes to the Muso mode. However, there are some new characters that got introduced, including one who I tried out, Zhenji. Okay. Did I say her name right? Okay. So, oh yes, and let's not forget about the two-player support. You and a buddy can cooperate or compete against each other. So yeah, options when it comes to you and your buddies. Compared to Dynasty Warriors 2, the battlefields are more detailed than ever. And it's pretty crazy. And yes, there are 3 save slots when it comes to the Muso mode. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. So you don't have to basically start off with one character and then feel forced to finish the campaign with this one character. You can go ahead and just play as that one character, fill up save slot 1, and then you go to the menu, and then I'm going to go pick a different character. Oh, here goes save slot 2. And I think you get the idea from left and right. So there is some interesting quality of life additions when it comes to Dynasty Warriors 3. I will go ahead and say that. However, when it comes to the difficulty, it's nerfed, but not too much. It's still going to be tough. However, I will go ahead and say if you need to decrease the difficulty slider down to easy, you can still unlock characters by doing, yes, you can still unlock characters by playing the game with the difficulty set on easy. However, what I would go ahead and do if you're about to start out Dynasty Warriors 3 is like I said about Dynasty Warriors 2. You go grind the free mode for a couple of sessions, and you're basically ready for Muso mode, okay? And not only that, the enemies will still have a chance to self-heal when it comes to certain enemy warriors, so still, you're going to want to be careful, and you're gonna be very squishy if you're not careful. So with that totally said, enemies are gonna be more persistent, while at the same time you're gonna be more dependent on your allies, just like it was the case for Dynasty Warriors 2. And when it comes to the equipables, there's weapons and equipable items to go and equip for your character to collect from left and right as you participate in so many battles from left and right, okay? Yeah, it's pretty wild. And the soundtrack, yes, some tracks carry over, but it's not like a copy-paste. It's like a handled, revised, improved version of the tracks that managed to carry from 2 to 3. So it's like, okay, if you're working on revising the tracks, then yeah, I don't see the problem. All right, why not? Okay, that is such the case. However, as traditional, Dynasty Warriors 3, like Dynasty Warriors 2, you'll be in a huge battlefield to go around and cut down so many enemies, and yeah, you basically cut down enemies in greater warriors to basically clear the battlefield, and when it comes to the gates, you take out the gate captain to take over the gates, and make things easy for your allies to basically push on and carry on from left and right, while you go ahead and go to the big baddie of this battlefield, and then you take out that big baddie, and then you win the battlefield, and that's great. But situations, like when it comes to like collectible items, not only that, you're going to run into situations where you need a quick fill of your Muso meter, or so you can unleash your Muso super attack and hold down that Muso button to have it last longer from left and right until the Muso bar depletes. But there's going to be situations where you're going to end up low on HP. So go destroy boxes and destructible objects, and or cut down enemies, and these enemies will have, as well as the destructibles, okay, they have a good chance of carrying a healing item or a stat boost item, or basically an item that's going to heal both your HP and your Muso. And yeah, that is just as traditional. And yeah. Now, my issues with Dynasty Warriors 3 is that when it comes to the English voice acting, it could have been better. I will go ahead and say that. But there are times where the cheesiness of the voice acting becomes entertaining. But yeah, the English voice acting can be handled better. We can do better with the English voice acting. And I did seem to notice how there's frame rate dips because of the, optimization complications with Dynasty Warriors 3. I seem to notice that. And I was able to sniff out a problem with the game itself when it comes to those frame dips. So I think the case is definitely the optimization. So Omega Force did kind of mess up on a few areas in terms of, or they missed a spot, whatever the case may be, and that's where we're going to be seeing those frame dips in those areas. Now, the frame dips are going to be isolated cases at most at the end of the day, so that's some good news. However, Dynasty Warriors, it's still simplistic and fun in terms of gameplay. There is still a good amount of replayability, especially a generous amount of replayability. There's a better soundtrack, as a matter of fact. The new tracks that's dominating the OST for Dynasty Warriors 3 has been nothing but rock and roll bangers from left and right. I will go ahead and say that. However, when it comes to the visuals, they are heavily improved compared to Dynasty Warriors 2. Yeah, Dynasty Warriors 2, that's good to say that. And, of course, there are some intriguing newcomer characters to get the hang of, and, of course, there is your usual Muso mode campaign that is more detailed than ever. And yeah, I seem to notice that compared to Dynasty Warriors 2, and that's a huge step up, and I will go ahead and say that here. But however, it is going to be still challenging, but as you conquer the challenging battlefields or the challenging battles, it's very rewarding, and you become OP, and it's that rewarding feeling at the end of the day when it comes to Dynasty Warriors 3, just like such is the case with Dynasty Warriors 2. Dynasty Warriors 3 isn't a rush release. As a matter of fact, it felt like a giant step up. It really felt like it was a giant step up in production from the start, and I don't know how they managed to basically pull off this huge and come out with this huge amount of details and quality of life additions and quality of life improvements when it comes to Dynasty Warriors 3, but man, did Omega Force really step it up a notch. I will go ahead and say that Dynasty Warriors 3 is absolutely recommendable, but however, if you want to jump straight into Dynasty Warriors 3, that is entirely understandable, or if you want to basically move on to Dynasty Warriors 4, I'll talk about that in another video, but Dynasty Warriors 3 is a record breaker compared to Dynasty Warriors 2, and I will go ahead and say that. It was amazing. I will go ahead and say that. Alright, so with that totally said, absolutely recommendable when it comes to Dynasty Warriors 3. And yeah, as soon as you buy that game, good times are going to be had. You're going to be having fun. There's the replayability. There's the addicting hack and slash gameplay that can become a guilty pleasure for some people. Or they don't play the Warriors games because it's a guilty pleasure. They play it because, hey, they find it absolutely fun, and it's a fun way to basically like turn your mind off and go send some enemies in midair and basically go cut down everybody from left and right. That could be the case. Yes, I know Dynasty Warriors 3 is not going to be like the later games where you just jump in the middle and then send hundreds flying, understandably so. But yeah, there is tons of unlockables, okay? There is tons of stuff. It's just like Dynasty Warriors 2, and with like more additions, and shockingly more additions. So with that totally said, what the hell was that guy's problem? Anyway, that said, that is all. I will be looking forward to you in the next video. Peace out.